Someone asked for a specs review of the 1000 Highlifter Polaris Sportsman. So I'm just going to go through the specs real quick and point out some very relevant things. So first of all, if you're looking at the specs in this bike, so this is the 2017. Obviously, it's blue and black. Don't look at these specs. Polaris screwed up on their website and they posted the specs for the regular 1000. As you can see, it says it's got 26s on it and it says a bunch of other stupid stuff. So those are irrelevant. So do not look at those. You want to look up the specs on the 2016 15s, whatever, the orange one. They're the exact same specs for the 2017. The only thing they changed this year is the color. So yeah, so we go through the specs. So anything interesting to point out? The travel, high clearance, arch J arms. They are arched. That's cool. The shock mount in the rear does hang down beneath the arch, so the rear isn't ideal. They use these crazy big shock absorbers, really stiff springs, and the suspension is limited, so they don't have a whole lot of travel in the rear, not a whole lot in the front either. Um, Also, it's worth noting that this is the old body style. Like, it didn't receive a 2017 model update. It just received new colors and stuff. So, yeah, I don't know. And what else? 29.5 skinnies. The 1000 has aluminum wheels, 13.5 inches of ground clearance. I've been in the dealership, I've measured it. It's really close to 13.5. They're exaggerating maybe like a fraction of an inch. The wheelbase, okay, so 53 inches. That's a pretty good wheelbase, and you see estimated dry weight of 974 pounds, which is kind of what you'd expect. The other bike's 800, the non-high lifter, and you've got bumpers, winch, piping for the snorkel adds a little bit of weight. The major thing that adds weight is these Outlaw 2s. And this one does have the front and rear bumpers and stuff. What else is worth pointing out on here? Yeah, not much else on here is real relevant. So, except for the price, $14,000. But for $10,000, you can get the 850, which the only real difference is it's the same transmission, same gearing. Both these bikes have the same transmission as the regular Sportsman 850, just different gearing in there. The gears swap back and forth. They do have a bunch of chains in there, but they're fairly reliable from what I've heard. The front diffs are questionable. They say they've updated them. Who knows? People still break them, but they do make a pinion bearing support, and it's easy to upgrade. And I'd rather fix a Polaris broken diff because once you fix it, you have four-wheel drive again. A Can-Am will always be three-wheel drive. Anyways, but yeah, so this is the 850. The difference is horsepower, right? This one, the 1000 has. Let me try to tell you right. Where is the motor? I know the 850 has 78 horsepower. The 1000 has 85 horsepower. The new 2017 1000 Sportsman non-high lifter has 90 horsepower. So whenever they come out with an update, it'll get 5 more horsepower. Not that it's a huge difference, but 85 to 78 horsepower. I'm not sure it's worth $4,000. I was gonna get this one, the 850, because it's the same exact bike. It just doesn't have power steering, doesn't have the front and rear racks, doesn't have the winch, but almost the same horsepower, and it's 50 pounds lighter, even though it comes on steel wheels. So if you put on some aluminum wheels, it'd be, probably a little bit more weight difference. But let's look at some key things here. So wheelbase, 53 inches. So its competition, obviously, is the Can-Am 1000 XMR Outlander. It has a wheelbase of 59 inches. So that's a 15, what's 9 minus 3? 6. 6 inches is a huge difference in wheelbase. This thing has the turning radius of a semi-truck and also gets high-centered under the center really bad. And if you don't believe me, watch a video of a Rubicon on 30s going up a rut. No problem. 30-inch Zillas that an XMR can't go up because it's so long. It just gets bellied out in the center. Has those two frame bars that go way back. Also, Can-Am says 13 inches of ground clearance. Please, all of you, go to a dealership and measure the ground clearance on one of these shit that's sitting on the showroom floor. I'm not going to tell you what it is. Just go measure it for yourself, because if I say something, everyone will get all freaked out about it. Can-Am used to not even tell you the weight on this, but they've updated their thing, and they say it's 990 dry. That is a huge, huge load of crap. But anyways, 990 dry versus 921, it's a pretty significant difference. The Can-Am is heavier. This has 89 horsepower. It does have the 6x6 transmission, so it has 25% lower gears. Gears are still nowhere near as low as the Polaris. And this comes on 30-inch silverback skinnies, which are nowhere near the tire 29.5 Outlaw 2 is, and they're actually shorter. So yeah, another big thing with the Polaris is it has two fans, two fans blowing air down through holes in the fender, blowing air down away from the rider. That is crucial. This has one fan that blows air straight across the racks onto the rider. Cooks you. And these overheat unless you do some kind of thermostat bypass from the factory. You got to buy that brand new bike. Oh, and these brake tie rods from the factory. And my buddies broke the rear diff in just a couple of hours. But anyways, I'm just doing this for comparison. I'm not trying to talk crap about Can-Am. Someone just asked for some spec review. Three giant snorkels. It's kind of goofy where they route the snorkels. I looked at the high lifters for a while. I almost bought one, but they don't show it on here. But the snorkel, this is actually the snorkel right here. The piece you see right there, that is the belt snorkel. That's one. The other one's up here, and the engine snorkel's on the other side. But they are huge snorkels, so you're gonna get pretty decent cooling for your belt, which is key for good belt life and stuff. Um, but yeah, $4,000 for front and rear bumpers, a winch, and power steering, in my opinion, not worth it. Also, it might be worth waiting for the for the 2017 plastic update for the high lifter because it's gonna come out eventually. We know it because the 2017 is a lot better looking bike in my opinion. But these things are bad. Both of these will do wheelies right out of the box. This will not. It'll just, on flat ground, it'll just spin the tires because it's so long and heavy and stupid. And if it does do a wheelie, it'll break the rear diff. So these are, real fun sporty bikes to ride, lots of wheelie action. But I really don't think this is worth 4 grand unless you like really gotta have the power steering. Because I mean, this front bumper is just hideous. I mean, look at that thing; it's just gawping. They're both used as all-wheel drive. They're using the same diff, same ratios. They're the exact same bike, pretty much. This is just basically, a bigger bore. The reason mine got delayed is because they, on the other side of the bike, right here, where the exhaust runs, they're having problems melting the plastics. So I had actually put a deposit down on one of these, and it got delayed 1 week after another after another. Finally, they were like, "We don't know when we're gonna get it." So I took my deposit back, and I've been messing around with an Ace and stuff since. But still may end up getting one of these. Kind of waiting to see if we're gonna get a model update because I really don't like these plastics. It is low on suspension travel, but that's not a big deal. That's what it takes to clear giant tires that are actually a true to height, 30. So and the stiff springs and everything keep it from sagging in the mud. But pretty neat, pretty good bike, pretty good specs. I'm not sure why this one's $14,000 and this one's that price. Still pretty good value for money, especially when you try to get one of these guys. But yeah, so $10,000 is just an absolutely excellent deal for what you're getting here. You're getting a factory snorkel bike with the giant radiator, two fans pointing down, blowing the heat away from the rider. So totally key. 29 fives, everything's done for you. Good warranty that they'll stand behind. The suspension up travel's limited. Arched arms. I mean, you're getting a lot of bike for $10,000 and 40% more price for those little upgrades. I don't think it's worth it. And as far as the dimensions go, they're both exactly the same except one's a little heavier. But 13.5 inches of ground clearance out of the box is really good, and they make a bolt-on lift. I think it's like a 2.5 or a 3 inch lift. Highlifter does. It's a really nice lift, and these things look really badass with just that lift because the arms and axles are long enough to do a good bit of lift. People do break axles on these things. I mean, what do you expect? It's 78 horsepower or 85 horsepower, and it's pretty heavy. But you can upgrade all that, and there's also portals if you want to go crazy. But yeah, there's my opinion on the specs.